Welcome back to Unfettered Ideas, the place where patriotism meets open dialogue. Real dialogue, not that sanitized, focus-grouped, government-approved nonsense the mainstream media peddles. I'm your host, Duke Dallas, retired war vet, proud Texan, and a man who ain't afraid to call it how I see it. Now listen, folks, I hope y'all are sitting down because today we're talking about a storm brewing on the horizon. A list, the list, the one that's got the swamp creatures in D.C. sweating through their silk suits. The kind of stuff that if you say it too loud gets you accidentally suicided like old Jeffrey Epstein himself. That's right. The Epstein list. Jeffrey Epstein's little black book, set to drop any day now. But before we dive in, let me remind you, this ain't about left or right. It's about light, shining it where the roaches scatter. So let's rewind. Jeffrey Epstein, billionaire pedo, dead in a cell. Suicide? Sure, and I've got oceanfront property in Arizona. This man partied with princes, presidents, and Hollywood royalty. But when the walls closed in, poof, gone. Now, I ain't one for fairy tales, but if you think a guy that connected kicks the bucket without a few hands on the rope, well, bless your heart. The elites have been shaken in their snakeskin boots over this one, and for good reason. We're about to find out who was really on that island, who was flying out to a private underage playground while pretending to be our leaders, our moral authorities, our so-called betters. And let me tell you, I got a real strong feeling that this list ain't going to be filled with red-blooded, God-fearing American patriots. No, sir. It's going to be the same slimy globalists that have been pulling the strings for decades. They called him a financier. Funny word for a vulture feeding on the young. And now his list. Names of the rich, the powerful, the untouchables. But here's the kicker. We've known about this rot for years, yet the machine keeps churning. Makes you wonder, who's really pulling the levers? But before we break it all down, let's take a step back and ask ourselves, who exactly was Jeffrey Epstein? And why does the establishment want this story to disappear faster than a Clinton email server? Now, I ain't going to waste your time with the fluff. Jeffrey Epstein was a billionaire financier who somehow kept getting sweetheart deals despite being a convicted pedophile. Y'all ever wonder how a man like that got away with it for so long? How he got a damn slap on the wrist for running a human trafficking ring while some poor Texan gets locked up for life over a dime bag of weed? It's because Epstein wasn't just some pervert with money. No. He was a broker, a middleman, a man whose real job was to collect dirt, compromising, career-ending, life-destroying dirt on the most powerful people in the world. And what better way to do that than with a private island, a secret jet, and a roster full of politicians, Hollywood stars, and philanthropists who just happen to have a thing for underage girls. And let's not forget, Epstein didn't work alone. He had his right-hand woman, Ghislaine Maxwell, running the operation. And where is she now? Sitting in prison, conveniently not being asked to name names. Y'all see the game being played here? The people who know too much end up dead or silenced, and the ones who should be in prison, they just keep on smiling for the cameras. And that brings us to the list, the one they told you didn't exist, the one they swore up and down was just a conspiracy theory. Well, turns out it ain't no theory. And guess what? It's about to drop. Now, I don't have the list in my hands just yet, but let's use some good old common sense. We already know a few names that have leaked over the years: Prince Andrew, Bill Gates, and even old Bill Clinton himself, who apparently racked up 26 flights on Epstein's plane. It's a litmus test for this country. Will we see CEOs, senators, maybe even a former first lady? Oh, you bet your boots. But here's the rub. Both sides of the aisle are knee-deep in this muck. Democrats, Republicans, they're all dancing to the same tune played by their donors. And let's not kid ourselves. These ain't your average Joes. These are globalists. The kind who jet set between New York, Paris, and Davos, sipping champagne while the rest of us fight for scraps. They've got more in common with each other than they do with you or me. But here's the silver lining. Patriots see through the charade. We know the game. And when that list drops, it's our duty to remember, to vote with our feet, our wallets, and our voices. Now, some folks will say, Duke, why stir the pot? Let the courts handle it. The courts? The same ones that let Epstein walk in 2008 with a slap on the wrist? No, sir. This is about us. The folks who still believe in the flag, not the facade. Again, I served this country, fought for her, and let me tell you, there's nothing more American than demand and accountability. But here's where it gets sticky. The media's going to spin this. They'll focus on the names that fit their narrative, ignore the rest. Meanwhile, the real puppet masters, laughing in their mansions, but hope's not lost. We've got the internet. The truth's out there, buried under all the noise. Dig, share, stay angry. Because if we let this slide, what's next? So what do? First, don't look away. When the list drops, study it. Not just the headlines, the patterns, who's protecting who. Second, hit 'em where it hurts. Boycott their companies. Flood your congressman's inbox. And third, teach your kids. Teach them that power doesn't equal virtue. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking, Duke's gone off the deep end. Maybe. But I'd rather be a lone wolf howling in the truth than a sheep bleating in the dark. The people on this list ain't just politicians. They're the ones making the rules for you and me. They tell you what's right and wrong while they're out there doing the most evil things imaginable. And if they can get away with this, then what else are they hiding? So here's what I'm saying to all my listeners out there. Do not let this story die. They're going to try to distract you, probably with some new war, some celebrity scandal, or maybe another health crisis where they tell you to stay inside and shut up. But we can't let them win this time. We need the truth. We deserve the truth. And if the media won't give it to us, then we got to be the ones who spread it. Remember, this ain't about burning the system down. It's about cleansing it. So keep your boots dirty, your mind sharp, and your love for this country unfettered. This has been Unfettered Ideas with Duke Dallas. Until next time, God bless Texas, God bless America, and God help the bastards who think they can keep this buried. Do me a solid. Don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, and drop a comment. This ain't just my show, it's yours. The people's voices matter, and we're building an army of patriots here. The elites want us silent. We say hell no. And if you want to fuel this fight, head over to our Patreon. Links in the description. Every dollar keeps us uncanceled and unfiltered. We're taking this country back, one patriot at a time. Stay strong, stay loud, and stay tuned. This is Duke Dallas, signing off. God bless y'all, and God bless America.